That you are a citizen of the greatest country anywhere in the world. And we were attacked like nothing that's happened possibly since 1917, many, many years ago. We were attacked. And we're winning the battle, and we're going to win the war, and it's not going to take, hopefully, that much longer. But we have to win the war.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, Q's latest posts give us a good look inside of what President Trump's going to be doing. As we see, this latest move by President Trump has basically ended the Fed, and we're going to talk about if that's actually what happened. Plus, we're going to ask the question, during these wartime situations, is President Trump going to suspend the writ of habeas corpus, just as Abraham Lincoln did during the Civil War, in order to go after those who are committing treason and sedition against this nation? You guys are going to want to stick around, check out that and a whole lot more. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. I'm your host, Craig. You guys know the drill. I say thank you if you've hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, please come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications, then select all so you get notified as soon as all of these videos get posted. We always check the Q board, and yes, we do have brand new Q posts, and we're going to get right into them. But before we do that, I always just have to remind everyone this video is brought to you in part by Brave Browser. Go check out the Brave Browser, download it for free using the link in the description. It's a better internet browser. It blocks the ads. You guys are going to love it. So use the link in the description to download it, install it, and run it today. So check out the Brave Browser. I'm sure you guys will love this product. Now, we're going to pick up right where we left off. We left off at Q Post 3898. We're picking up at Q Post 3899, and it starts with this tweet from Educating Liberals. Now, this is somebody who I've met several times in real life. Dylan's a great guy. He runs the Educating Liberals account. I've actually done a few speaking events with him, and he's just a really nice guy to meet. And he actually put this post up here that Q links to, which is an amazing video. Now, this video is from this account called Payne's Angels, and it's a really great video. And, you know, because of the whole copyright thing and everything on YouTube, I can't really play the video for it because then it could, you know, you never know. They give you copyright strikes. I don't know if the music's copyrighted, etc. But I'm going to put this link in the description of this video. So if you want to watch this video, and yes, it is a really good video, worth watching. I mean, it so hits the nail on the head for everything that you need to understand about. I mean, the title says it all. Panic is the contagion. But it's a great video. It's only 4 minutes. It's worth your time. So I'll leave a link in the description to go check out Payne's Angels YouTube page, and you can watch this video. So with that, though, Q basically says the silent war continues. Q. So once you watch that video, you'll understand kind of what it's about. But ultimately, it's a video that shows exactly how President Trump has handled this pandemic and how the mainstream media has basically used the levers of power that they control to panic the populace. I mean, there's some great points in there, and it's definitely worth your time to watch. Another thing that Anon's picked up on pretty quickly is that Q has been saying the silent war continues. The first time we had 5 dots, and they've said that this is possibly a countdown, right? To where we had 5 again. Then there were 4, then there were 3, then there were 2, and now once again 2. So it's almost like a stunted countdown for, you know, whatever's to come. But leaving that aside, we can move into the next post here, and this is a very important one. Now, where's the last time we saw this 90 JPEG? Well, that'd be taking a trip back in the time machine here to July 27, 2019, Q Post 3525, and guess who? It's you-know-who, Comey. The status is millions of 2016 Trump voters are not racist. Now, those Americans need the strength of character to resolve they will not again vote for someone who clearly is. It's not just about, or not about judges or taxes. It's about who we are as a nation. So this is James Comey calling out President Trump as being a racist. And if you actually look at James Comey's latest post today, people are talking about it. There's some cryptic stuff here, right? Comey is saying, unsure how to use Twitter now. Don't know enough to tweet about COVID-19. Don't want to tweet about Trump. Instead, I will try to spread things useful, comforting, or distracting rather than contagious during a really hard time. Today, I'll start with my social distance selfie. This, to me, looks like a desperate man. Now, let me ask you something else. You know, other than the fact that it's very possible, look, he's coloring his hair, obviously, the dye's falling out and his hair is gray. But why is he coloring his hair black? Somebody wanted me to look at that more closely, and I just figured I'd throw that out there for the Anons to look at more closely. He looks like he's got a reddish beard coming in with the gray stubble. So why would somebody need to change their hair color and change their identity? Who actually is James Comey? I mean, that's a rabbit hole I'm not going to get into in this episode because I just was put that on my radar from somebody who's a friend. But look at that more closely and look at this more closely, because we know that when he says he's unsure how to use Twitter, he knows exactly how to use Twitter because he's been making his little cryptic messages through it for quite some time. And a lot of people have speculated on Twitter and on the boards, the Anons, saying that this is another cryptic comms message to his handler saying that, you know, basically COVID's not working. We got to go to something else because they're coming after us with hard time. Why would you say hard time? You know what hard time's referring to, right? That's referring to jail time. Very hard time, indeed, maybe ahead. So this is what's happening, and we have a big one today here. Remember, we're going to talk about stuff like Trump basically calling up 1 million troops to active duty. Or on-call duty. This is going to be big. You guys are going to want to stick around and watch this episode. But going back here, how does this connect? The 90 JPEG Comey tweet, was the corn ripe for harvesting? It is now. He knows what he's in the middle of. He knows this is a part of it. And look at the post right before that, right? Q says, President Trump retweeted this. What is this? Look at it. President Trump literally retweeted this, having Robert Mueller, John Podesta, Barack Obama, Eric Holder, Bill Clinton, Loretta Lynch, James Comey, James Clapper, Uma Abedin, Hillary Clinton, and Rod Rosenstein all in jail for treason. And the mainstream media skips right over that. But I think we who've been watching this for long enough understand that this is not by accident. It's not a coincidence. It's all for a purpose. And we're going to get into why that's important right when we read this latest post. First, it gives this New York Times article, which talks about the president's proclamation. Now, this is from 1863, from the Civil War era, where you have the habeas corpus suspended throughout the United States in certain specific cases. Now, what this basically is a declaration by Abraham Lincoln, where he basically says that they will be suspending habeas corpus in certain situations because they're facing a threat internally of rebellion. So, as it says here, whereas a rebellion was existing on the third day of March 1863, which rebellion is still existing, and whereas by a statute which was approved on that day, it was enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives in the United States, and Congress assembled that during the present insurrection, the President of the United States, whenever in his judgment the public safety may require, is authorized to suspend the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus in any case throughout the United States or any part thereof. And whereas in the judgment of the president, the public safety does require that the privilege of the said writ shall now be suspended throughout the United States in cases where, by the authority of the President of the United States, military, naval, and civil officers of the United States, or any of them, hold persons under their command or in their custody, either as prisoners of war, spies, or aiders or abettors of the enemy of the officers, soldiers, or seamen enrolled, drafted, or mustered, or enlisted in or belonging to the land or naval forces of the United States, or as deserters therefrom, or otherwise amenable to military law, or to the rules and articles of war, or the rules and regulations prescribed for the military or naval services by the authority of the President of the United States, or for resisting a draft, or for any other offense against the military or naval service. So that's a long way of saying that any spies, aiders, or abettors of the enemy during a time of war shall not be granted the writ of habeas corpus. And what is habeas corpus? That's your right to due process, your right to a fair trial, your right to be arrested and then have a jury of your peers, or in some other cases, a jury or a federal court and a judge make a summons against you, right? So this would be a wartime power that's being floated here by Q as what President Trump's gonna be doing. And, you know, I think it's about time. Haven't we been waiting for this for, 2-3 years now? How about all the people saying, where are the arrests? Where are the arrests? Well, what about this? I mean, how does this feel to you guys? Because when I read this, I'm hopeful that those criminals who have been trying to sabotage and set up our government for not just through President Trump, but for decades going back, they're going to be held accountable. And we're going to see how this all plays out. So, I mean, I'm just reading it here and letting you guys know what I think. So, again, Q gives us this link to the U.S. code where it talks about treason, sedition, and subversive activities. Treason, misprision of treason, which is basically committing the act of covering up treason. Rebellion or insurrection, seditious conspiracy, advocating overthrow of government, registration of certain organizations, activities affecting armed forces generally, activities affecting armed forces during war, recruiting for service against the United States, enlistment to serve against the United States. So, what is Q saying? These are the things that we're going to be going after these criminals for. These people who thought that they could betray the American people, betray their office, and betray this entire country as a whole are not going to be left unaccounted for. Each and every one of them will be held to account, and if President Trump were to decide to make a proclamation declaring the same declaration that was made by Abraham Lincoln in the Civil War, who would really blame him at this point? I know I wouldn't, because it seems that we've had to come to this point where, you know, we're all locked in our apartments or homes or wherever, and we're all waiting to see what happens. They can't pull off these major attacks or events to distract us if we're all locked up and hunkered down and ready for whatever's coming. That's the way I see it, at least. And that's what it seems like it is to me at this point. But tying this back with the 90 JPEG and then back to the Comey tweet, you got to really think about it. How is this all connecting together? These people know what's coming. They understand the game is over. President Trump's won, and we're going to talk about how we're continuing to win in these next few posts. The next one's an older post that's been reposted by Q, talking about what a patriot is. A patriot's a person who loves, supports, and defends his or her country and its interests with devotion, or a person who regards himself or herself as a defender, especially of individual rights, against presumed interference by the federal government. Well, I think that I'm a patriot, and I think that most of you, I would say the vast majority, 99.99, hopefully 100% of you are all patriots in that sense. And then it says a traitor, a person who betrays another, a cause or any trust, a person who commits treason by betraying his or her country. So never forget that that's categorically what we're going after here. And no matter what the fake news says, no matter all the lies they spew, this panic they try to spin, the fake news that they put out there and weaponize to try to sow division and discord amongst the American people, we stand together and unite because we know we are patriots who are fighting this battle. And we know that the traitors are going to be taken down, and we trust first in God, and then in the country, the leaders who we put in place. And President Trump is our leader. He's our president, and we put him there for a reason. And that is to not just drain the swamp, but to fix this corruption, to fix this system. And he's been doing it from day one. So we should be very, I think, thankful at this point for all the actions that have been taken. Now, the next one may seem a little out of place for some of you. I'm not going to get into much to this, but it's Q reminding us that there are no private comms, past, present, future, and no comms made outside of this platform. So anybody that you're seeing on social media who's saying that they are Q and trying to string together this set of stories that seem really plausible, that would lead you to believe, yes, they are Q, is probably a liar and probably not somebody you want to follow. And I'm just saying that. I'm not telling you who to follow. You make your own decision. But think about this, too. I've looked at certain people who are claiming to be Q on Twitter right now, and I'm not even going to mention their name because it's really not worth mentioning. Such a joke of a LARP attempt to try to co-opt the movement. But let's put it this way. I've talked to all of my sources who are pretty good, I would say, when it comes to finding people out. And all of them say the same thing, basically. This guy's a liar. He's a loser. And his whole shtick is basically thought up in some office building there's a think tank with a bunch of deep staters sitting around a table for the last 2 years going, how do we put together a story that's believable so we can co-opt the movement and we can sow division by putting some crazy actor in there who can, Pied Piper a few of us off into the nether realm or whatever to follow his insane story that seems plausible but has so many holes it's almost impossible for me to believe that people have actually believed this guy. And this is just one example, but I think that's what this is aimed at. So yeah, you guys be the judge for yourself. If you know who I'm talking about, then you either really think it's right or you believe him or you don't. But look, I've done my research. I've been able to basically poke a hole through everything that he said. And he claims to be, whatever he is. You guys, I'm going to let you be the judge. I'm not going to tell you what to think. So you make your own minds up. But the guy is obviously, from the people I've talked to, my sources who are pretty good, as you guys know, he's a dangerous, unstable dude that is trying to lead people away and to sow division. And it's only going to lead to problems for anybody who gets into that. But I'm going to, leave that for the rest of you guys to figure out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just keep living your life and it doesn't really matter. The next one here is interesting. I want to share this with you. I'm going to share this clip of JFK because Q says infiltration instead of invasion. And here's a very famous speech from John F. Kennedy where he says that exact line.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
So there you heard Kennedy lay it out, but ultimately infiltration instead of invasion is exactly what we're going up against right now. And that's why President Trump says we were attacked. We were attacked. This was a part of a very large, coordinated, complex attack on this country to try to destroy it from not only outside with the viruses and all of the other things that have been hitting us wave after wave, but from inside through infiltration. And that's exactly what we're up against. That's what President Trump's been putting an end to. And it's definitely worth looking at more closely. Now, finally, here is the Q wants us to look at this Twitter post, right? Saying this is not another 4-year election. A lot of people are saying, is it a countdown? Is this a marker? 4 days from now is going to be the 1st of April, which people have speculated a lot's going to be going down on that day. I'm not sure, but I do know this. Looking at this tweet from this Iron Belly on Twitter saying, RIP the Federal Reserve, this is huge. This scheme essentially merges the Fed and Treasury into one organization. So meet your new Fed chairman, Donald J. Trump. So if you read this finance from Yahoo Finance article, it actually says that exact quote right there. And if you read through it, it explains how what President Trump's done with this major order that he's just signed is take the Fed and make it into an asset of the Treasury. It seems this is crazy. This is bigger than anything. Because remember, the Fed is a private organization. Now, when you merge that with the Department of Treasury and then you make it so that the debt that's being given through these loans is not owned by the Fed, but owned by the Department of Treasury, that means it's owned by us, we the people. It means it's owned by the United States. And this is what we've been talking about. Q has said gold will destroy the Fed. The whole point has been to get rid of these banksters who have been basically holding us hostage as debt slaves for an incredible amount of time. And if you go even deeper into that, I know some people who hopefully I'll be able to have on the show that are going to explain how not only are we debt slaves, but we're just considered chattel. We're just considered basically lost souls, dead on arrival, whatever you want to call it. We are basically sold into this debt slavery from the moment we are born. And we have to slowly break our way out of that. And a part of doing it is breaking ourselves away from the Fed and removing the power of the purse from those who would just use it to enrich themselves, rather put it in the position, the power, or to put it in the possession of the people. We, the people, have to have control of this. So what this is talking about basically is that commercial paper funding facilities and the all the different secondary markets and everything attached to it that are responsible for putting out these special purpose vehicles, which are just another way to put, say, loan, I would say. Now, I'm not an economist, so if any of you have any better insight, deeper insight, please feel free to leave it down in the theories or in the comments. But look, what it's basically saying is that now, instead of it being an asset to the Fed, it's an asset to the Treasury, and that makes President Trump, who's in charge of the Treasury, vis-a-vis now in charge of the majority of the new debts that will be basically created through this $2 trillion to $6 trillion deal that was just signed by President Trump. And for me, look, I know there's a lot of people who are going to know the economics a lot better than I do, but that's my overall way to sum it up. And if you want to dive deeper into it, there's going to be a lot more information coming out on this in the future. But suffice it to say, at this point, it's looking like President Trump's delivering on that end as well, right? What he made the promise to do. And we're just going to have to see what happens from here. Okay, so finally, a few more things before we go. This is one of the Anons out there who kind of broke it down a little better than I could, and I think this kind of makes sense. But what he's basically saying here, and if this makes sense to you, fine. If not, let me know what you think down in the comments. But it says, Mnuchin just bankrupted the Fed, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Chase, etc. Blank. It started Anons. The market liquidity is now controlled by Steve Mnuchin in the Treasury Department. That also means we own all central bank requests for credit for all 186 foreign nations. Folks, a power transfer just went down. The world just went from asking the Rothschilds for credit swaps to asking Steve Mnuchin in the U.S. Treasury for credit swaps. So that's what I think this ultimately may end up being. And you guys will have to let me know down in the comments what you think. A few more things before we go. We have, as of yesterday, about 11,000 troops are mobilized for this COVID response, which makes perfect sense. But what's even more interesting is this executive order that was signed by President Trump yesterday, where he basically lays out that they're going to order the selected reserve and certain members of the individual ready reserve of the armed forces to active duty. Now, this is actually happening. President Trump greenlights a call up of over 1 million reserve troops for the coronavirus. Well, what would you need 1 million troops for? Maybe we are breaking away from the Fed. Maybe we are putting ourselves in a position to do everything in our power possible to get ourselves away from this system of evil, right? The pyramid, the Rothschild, Saud, Soros syndicate that's been holding us back for so long and has used everything in their arsenal to try to destroy this country. And it goes a lot deeper than what we're talking about here, but I'll just leave it at, look at what's happened with this virus. Look at what's happened to our economy. Look at what they're doing in the lead up to, of course, the next election in 2020. They do not want President Trump to remain in power, but as Q says, this is not another 4-year election. So that's pretty much where I'm going to go ahead and leave it. A few more things before we go. I want to remind everybody to check out these videos here, watch them, share them. There is a content suppression algorithm. You guys are breaking through it right now by hitting the share button on these videos, watching them, and getting that out there. So definitely do that. Also, leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to say about everything. Also, don't forget to use the link in the description to check out redpillliving.com/justinformed. They have a bunch of great products, but right now I think you should really take advantage of the deal they have going where you use the coupon code IMMUNE. You'll get 15% off their liposomal vitamins. And right now, we're in the moment where it couldn't hurt to have, these vitamins to keep your energy up and to help bolster your immune system. So you guys should definitely go check these products out. Obviously, consult your physician before taking anything, but look at what you can get here at redpillliving.com/justinformed. Use the link in the description and the coupon code IMMUNE That's IMMUNE for 15% off your liposomal vitamins, and then use the coupon code JUSTINFORMED to get 10% off all your other purchases here, from the Great Awakening coffee to their Carbon C60 to everything else that they have. You guys should go check out their products today. Also, a few other ways you can come find me are over here on Twitter. You can find me at JustinformedU. That's a great way to connect. Also, you can find me at justinformednews.com, the official website for Just Informed Talk, and bitshoot.com/justinformedtalk, backup channel for the channel here on YouTube. And of course, if you guys want to make a contribution, you can do it here. Go at Patreon, patreon.com. It's a crowdfunding website. It's a monthly donation. You guys have kept this channel alive in the face of all the censorship, demonetization, and YouTube trying to put this channel out of business, cutting my revenue down to like basically nothing. You guys stepped up and you guys made it possible for me to do this full time. So thank you. Your support is what keeps this channel alive and growing. And hopefully we keep getting more sponsors, and that'll, help keep this channel going and getting bigger and able to, reach as many people as humanly possible. And also I have a GoFundMe set up if you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation. Links to everything we talked about here will be in the description. But before we go, we do the most important segment of this show at the end. It's called God's Grace is Greater. And some people, for those of you who are new here, you go, why do you do it at the end? I'm like a kid at Christmas. I always save the best gift for last, and this is the best gift. So this segment, we're going to talk about what it means to be wise. What do we have to do to be wise? God gives us instructions in how to become wise, and it's found all throughout the good book here, but I found a very specific verse I want to share with you. It's out of Psalm 37, verse 1 through 11. And I want to share these words with you because they touch my heart, especially in this time that's unsure and unstable. But it says, "Do not be agitated by evildoers. Do not envy those who do wrong, for they wither quickly like grass and wilt like tender green plants. Trust in the Lord and do what is good. Dwell in the land and live securely. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you your heart's desires. Commit your ways to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will act, making your righteousness shine like the dawn, your justice like the noonday. Be silent before the Lord and wait expectantly for him. Do not be agitated by one who prospers in his way, by the man who carries out evil plans. Refrain from anger and give up your rage. Do not be agitated, it can only bring harm. For evildoers will be destroyed, but those who put their hope in the Lord will inherit the land. A little while, and the wicked will be no more. Though you look for him, he will not be there. But the humble will inherit the land and will enjoy abundant prosperity." So, look, I hope those words speak to your heart. I've been going through some tough times lately, and I got angry in an episode a few episodes ago, and you guys reached out to me, and I felt it. I felt your prayers. I felt the energy. I felt all the positivity. You guys are so powerful, and you can do this for everyone that you meet. And you've inspired me to just become more, strong in my faith, I should say. And I hope I help you guys with that, because these words are what I try to live by, even though I'm not successful all the time. I get agitated by evildoers, even though God tells me not to, and I have to strengthen myself to know that everything is in God's hands and he will deliver us. And that's the same thing that you need to take into your heart. So that's my message to you, and I hope it resonates with you. And I really just want you guys to know that I'm thankful, and I went through a little bit of a health thing for the last few days, few weeks, but thanks to your prayers, thanks to God above, and thanks to good doctors, I was able to get through it. And I'm just thankful, and here I am, back on the channel doing the show. I'm sorry I may have missed a day here or there, but I'm thankful, and I hope that we can all continue to put our faith in the Lord, because he will deliver you through any hardship, any affliction. Remember that the affliction that you're put through, it produces character, proven character. And that proven character is really what's most important for us to embrace the full greatness and glory of God, and then share it into the world. So that's my message to you, and I want to say thank you guys for joining me here as usual. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up for me. Again, come here, hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and hit it, punch it, tap it, elbow it, whatever. Hit the like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. That's going to be it for me. Thanks for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed, and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.